Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Andrew Moran, Sarah Cowgill, Joe Schaefer, and David Patterson. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy received an unexpected tongue lashing from President Biden during a recent presser. The reporter seemed to ask a legitimate question on inflation and whether it would negatively impact the midterms. The president responded with, quote, "That's a great asset, more inflation. What a stupid son of a bleep," end quote. The exchange brought even more attention to Biden's penchant for sudden temper tantrums, but it also hints at complete disrespect for the Fourth Estate and its disorderly administration, unable to communicate effectively. Everyone on the staff at Liberty Nation has covered these violent outbursts made by the president against voters and Congress and those who disagree with his policies. We've covered his mental health, his long history of lying, his inability to answer even the simplest questions. Are we seeing a public unraveling? Sure seems that way. What do you say, Sarah?
I say we've been watching him unravel since he left as vice president. He really was coming kind of into his own when he was debating Trump during the election, and he lost his temper. He kept losing his temper, and after the debate, we watched him rip to shreds the supposed electorate, the voters. He took on somebody in Iowa. He called somebody fat. He has called people dog-faced lion pony soldiers, or I'm not sure I got that right, but I was close. And we have watched him unravel when he is out in front of people without having somebody slip him notes, or in his fake White House Oval Office set where it's a controlled environment. He does not do well. He does not have a grasp on what he is saying, the questions he is answering, and then Psaki has to come in and kind of sweep up the mess. I don't see how anybody hasn't noticed this, including the most hardcore Biden voters. They've had to have noticed this. They can't edit out everything. So I just say we're just watching him slowly steer into the skid of senility in front of our eyes.
Joe, you can't help but miss that the advocacy media, who was a very Biden friendly, is slowly turning on him. What do you make of that?
I don't know what to make of that, because they're all in on this administration. And
but they're abandoning ship. I mean, look at the
no. The administration, not the president himself. And I think that they want another figurehead to step in there. But again, that was the plan all along. I think I really truly believe they never saw Biden being in there for 4 years. They'd love to get Kamala Harris in there right now, but she has been so hopelessly at sea herself that they can't do that. I think the thing that's most interesting in this, we know what Joe Biden is. Like Sarah said, he's been this way for years now. And we talked about this before, during the general election, how they are removing a major presidential candidate who's now president. They're removing him from the American people. Doesn't do press conferences, doesn't talk to the media, doesn't talk to the people. So, okay, this is what Joe Biden is, this is what it's going to be. But is he setting a dangerous precedence for future presidents that we talk about this controlled environment? Are we going to have our president so removed from all, fair media questioning, any kind of a real and genuine interaction with the American people? It's the precedent that Joe Biden is setting that scares me more than just this pathetic spectacle that he's become.
I'm gonna say it. I think this has been in play since the get-go. They thought the media is driving the mule train. They saw, we got to beat Trump somehow. None of the other candidates were going to beat Trump. Somehow they put in this Biden and pushed it and drove the message in the media and away from Trump for 3 years. I think they have finally decided, let's enact our safe word and pull this guy out of here. And so they're starting to little bit chip away. And that's telling the Democratic Party, you need to get somebody in here. You need to fix this because he ain't lasting. And so they're chipping away at it, and so that the Democratic Party will take over and find somebody new.
You know, Dave, you and I have a few years on the rest of the panel. And I think we can safely say, and this is what medical experts say, dementia is not a normal thing of aging. It's not a normal side effect of aging. He's really got something going on, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, the simple solution to this whole thing is that when Biden came out of his basement during COVID, he left his brain there. And I think that this is just, I think that people age differently. They retain their capacity differently. And the way I look at it, what's indicative of President Biden's approach to the people is that he continues to go back and revert back to his time in the Senate, and he likes to talk about his time there as though it were current. And that's just not a good plan.
Andrew, I'll give you the last laugh here, as they say.
Well, I'll say this. I have twins. So every year I get older. I'm actually 5 years older. But, I'm going to do a devil's advocate here. On the one hand, conservatives are complaining about President Biden lashing out. But this is exactly what the right loved when Trump did it. How many times did he call the press SOBs? And there's that famous clip now of him calling that guy on Meet the Press an SOB. Biden's predecessor did it all the time. But then on the other hand, he can play devil's advocate too, because when Biden ran for office and he became president, he demanded unity. He said we have to, be polite to each other. He said he would fire anyone on the spot of his administration if they didn't practice dignity and respect. So, there's such a double side for both sides of the political aisle. There's a great Twitter account. It's called Define L's, and it listed all these blue check marks who were getting so angry that President Trump, he was insulting the press and calling them all these names. And then at the end, the other side saying, "Oh, it's good for President Biden to go after Fox News. It's good that you go after the fourth estate." So both sides are just making themselves look foolish. Biden's human, Trump is human. That's their style. You're making a mountain out of a molehill.
I disagree. I think something is seriously wrong with the man. He pops off at the oddest times. I think with Donald Trump, what you saw is what you got. I believe that Biden hides behind this Mr. Nice Guy, Joe Lunchbucket. We're the Bidens. We're such a good family. Joe, I'll give you the last word.
I get the last word. The last word is that they can do this for another 2 years. They can control him. They can get away with it. The media they may not like it, but the media will help them more than they will hurt them. And I think that they can get away with hiding this guy like this for another 2 years, unfortunately, for the American people.
Yeah, and being in control during a crisis is a major part of being a leader of the free world. If he unleashes his temper at the smallest of incidents, what is Biden going to do when he's faced with disasters or tragedies or like what's going on in Ukraine? Are his mental health and cognitive faculties sufficient for his high position? I don't know. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, or on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our productions. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our new member zone, just $17.76 for the year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank Diorio, and our executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks so much for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.